What's up, everybody? Nick Blazier back here with the Second Chance Finals. I should go change the name on that on the commentary screen, too. So we're down to just finalists from the undefeated side making it to the finals tomorrow. And these two players on the single loss side to determine who's going to go on to challenge Mark Farron tomorrow for this Gibraltar championship this year. We've got playing here again Geoff Hall, you watched win the semifinals against Anna Parker. He'll be playing the red checkers on bottom. And you see walking around on the other side of the board there, Francisco Domingues from Portugal. So he was able to defeat in the last round a tough opponent in Johan Norberg. So yeah, everybody in the money now, everybody happy. Lots of pleasant faces around. I will bring that up real quick here too, just to show you kind of the prizes and everything they're going after here. We can see that, let me show real quick. Yeah, so they're getting set up to play. But these are the second chance prizes, what they're competing for. The loser of this match will take home at least £3,000. The winner is going to go on to play for the 13 up top, minimum 6,000. So bunch of money on the line in this one here. Big prize pool here with added money like Arda always acquires for Gibraltar. So exciting stuff. We're going to get going pretty quickly here. I wonder if we have anything interesting to look at in the brackets here. I was just looking at the completion of this match. But I haven't checked out Francisco Dominguez's run up to this point. So it looks like he got a couple wins in the main. And potentially, did he go on to lose to Volker Sonnabend over here, it looks like, probably? Because I remember Volker made it away. Yeah, Volker ended up going on to play Mark Farron. So lost late in the main. Went on over to the second chance here. Is he in this one? No. So he's probably in this one. I have links to all these brackets in the description. So you can go do this fun leaderboarding yourself if you like. Let's see if he's on this one here. Yeah, here we go. So in the second chance, he was able to defeat Chris Martin, it looks like. Julian Minwala, who we saw play on stream. Made his way through a tough opponent in Thomas Tenlin, too. Also, another Rosalvo was one that was in the deep rounds, I remember, too. And finally through Johan Norberg to end up getting here to this semifinals match. So super exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to get started here. Lots of matches that they've had to play through, so fatigue going to be a little bit of a factor here. They're going to play an 11-point match. It was a sweat for Geoff Hall to make it through his match, too. So we'll see, what level of game they can bring here. There's always a fatigue factor late in the tournament. And a little bit of money pressure when we get here, too, which is always a fun thing. And, yeah, I'm excited to get going soon here. Like I said, players at the board, so I know we'll start pretty soon here. And yeah, last match of the day for these two for sure. And then we'll get going. Oh, what's going on here? I'm losing my stream for a second. Okay. I'm good. I'm still connected on my side, which is nice. Yeah, what else do I have to say about this? I've been showing the match progressions as we go through things. That's a lot of fun too. It's been a super cool tournament, super fun to be part of. Thanks for everyone joining me in the chat and things like that too. I really appreciate the participation. I know people have been waiting for there's like a 1-day lag basically on on getting to be part of the comments. Maybe I'll change that to the one tomorrow. It was just an idea to keep the bots out. But I don't know. I'd rather have people to talk to. Keep me company here. All right. I see Geoff Hall there in the background over by Arda as well. Very cool. So I think they're probably talking about, usually in these scenarios, making hedge arrangements, making sure that's all cleared with the tournament director. When there's a lot of money on line for one match like this, makes a lot of sense to work it through. So we can see Mark Farron's opponent did not make it through to the finals either. So still made some money, as you can see in those prize payouts. Even if he lost in the quarterfinals, had probably a pretty nice payday there. Worst case, he was going to get a bonus for being an undefeated finalist. And then if he lost immediately, another £670. So looking pretty good for him for sure. But yeah. We're getting into the fun ones, into the ones with the sweat. I haven't seen a lot of play from either of these players. Geoff Hall, I got a one-match familiarity in Francisco. I can't remember if I've ever commentated any of his matches or seen him play before. So excited to see what these players have and who Mark Farron's opponent will be tomorrow. Maybe he's at home or in his hotel room watching too, doing research on their play for tomorrow. I guess that's a smart study thing. Or maybe just relaxing is good enough too. Potentially a valuable asset to be able to check on that though. Yeah, we'll be kicking that off, I think, at 8 a.m. U.S. Central Time, which should be 1500 Gibraltar time tomorrow. And that'll be the conclusion of the tournament. And it's been an exciting one. Looks like everyone's having fun. 91 players total. Mark is the only undefeated one. The other 90 all have one loss. These are the only two left that don't have a second loss. So it's cool. Epic to come through a field like that. See us picking out dice for the board here. What's going to show up best. They prefer the big black and white ones if they can get them to use them. Oh, beautiful for the... Oh, they're going to use the tiny ones. Okay, never mind. I'll be able to see it. We'll be fine. That's rude, though. For the commentator transcriber. I need the help. We can look over at the board shot here, too. Francisco Domingues will be playing the checkers on top, as I mentioned. And we'll have Geoff Hall playing the checkers on bottom. Red and white for now, but that can change. Well, they're doing photos and stuff like that, too. That's cool. Yeah, it gets really exciting towards the end here. You know, there's a lot of like excitement around making it this deep into a tournament. Looks like Francisco has a bunch of supporters around. Geoff too. Excited to see how this match plays out and excited for both of them. Such an awesome opportunity to make it this deep into a tournament and get this kind of opportunity to play for a decent amount of money here and everything like that too, you know. Really exciting stuff. Yeah, Francisco from Portugal. So I guess close by here. So it looks like he brought a decent contingent to cheer him on. That's always a good thing to have. Let me double check over here too that they're not waiting on my go ahead. I'm just going to tell them. All right, all right. Friendly messages from my girlfriend I have to check in on too. Thanks, babe. What else do I have to show you here? You guys recognize Arda now, right? I've got an interview with him if you want to go check it out. Lots to watch between tonight's match and tomorrow. I'm sure I've seen some of these players in Portugal too. I got to play a speed gammon tournament at one of Chiva's shows there once. And that's his events are always like on the smaller side, but super fun, relaxed, entertaining stuff. He does the warm up before Monte Carlo a lot of years, near Lisbon. Yep, I think they're signing agreements and such. Hedges in order for sure when you make it this deep. It's hard. I mean, you get into these spots where the payouts are going to require you, if one player wants to play for a pretty big chunk there, like at least a 3,000 euro swing and then potentially 10,000 euro difference between third place and first place here. So yeah, it's nice to not put that all on one match. I never know how people are going to respond to that kind of like money pressure in those situations too. For me, I think I'm just happy to like be winning anything when I get to that kind of point. And yeah, so it doesn't put too much pressure on how it could have been more or anything like that. Oh, there you go. Mate getting in the shot in the back too. Good job. Good job. Oh, he's probably telling everyone that they're on camera too. Yeah, so they do make sure not too much inappropriate stuff happens back there or anything. But this is cool. There's a big old cheering section there too. Looks like we're getting this match started pretty shortly here. Like they're getting ready to set up the board. Monte is going to shake the camera around a little bit for a bit here first. I think we're still centered on the shot, right? Yeah, it looks good on there. Okay, I think we're good to go. Where are we going? What are we doing? I hope you guys don't have motion sickness. All right, I might have to do a little bit of adjusting on my side to make that centered. We could do a little bit. It's probably okay though. Let's see. See if I can make the top like this and the bottom like this. Yeah, whatever. It was already close, but this is good. Beautiful. Is that way better or what? Where'd their clock go? They decided they're not playing on a clock? Maybe they did. I'm sure they can agree to do that. A lot of times if both players, I mean, it's usually clocks preferred is the rule. So if both players agree that they don't want to use one, though, I think that's allowable. Getting reasonably late in the evening, having had to play since pretty early in the morning for a lot of them, would have been tough for someone that lost in the semifinals to make it this far, or in the undefeated semifinals as well, because they had a match at 11 a.m. their time this morning. So we could be on like hour 11 of backgammon play for the day. Looks like they're turning down the clock or trying to get a different one to set up. I'm not sure. Show you a little bit more of the playroom as things settle out, as they get ready to go. Geoff probably bringing up the YouTube stream here 3 minutes later what we have going on. No, I'm kidding there. Yeah, we run on delay, so they can't hear all of our advice in this XG input and all that stuff. So yeah, take some precautions to make sure there's no like situations like that where anyone would have to wonder. Tends to be a lot of headphones this late, like I said, to keep ourselves focused. It doesn't look like either of these players are those kinds of players. Maybe they're fine just listening to the playroom, but it can be distracting for sure. So people thinking about that. I kind of wish I had audio to hear them talking about this. I wonder what they're discussing. Wonder if they played each other. If they're like friends or this is the first time running into each other in a tournament or what, you know? I'm excited. Second last match of the tournament. And then we'll determine who our finalist is to go on to play the finals tomorrow against Mark Farron. I think that'll be maybe a 17-point match. I know the the undefeated semifinals and finals were 15, I believe. So they get to be longer matches at the end. On the second chance side, it tends to be a little bit lower. Okay, one side's clock has been running for some time now, so they need to reset it. We'll get there. I wonder what other events are going on in the room too. There's always jackpots and side events and things like that they could be wrapping up. After I wrap up with this stream here, I am, whatever Mate can find to put on stream, he's been doing too. So he might have some just with the board shot, no commentary or XG or anything like that. So he can catch up on some more action potentially after this. But I mean, this will probably take us late, so it might be the last match of the night. But as I said, we'll be back early tomorrow with the finals. Exciting stuff. Looking forward to seeing what kind of styles we get out of these players too. I got some feel for how Geoff likes to play in the last match. Nothing's jumping out at me at the moment. But like I said, I haven't seen Francisco play before. So always interesting to see, is it just like, is it going to be a super technical player that plays like super sharp PR? Is it going to be someone that has like certain style preferences, things like that? You never know. Still trying to figure out the clock here. Mate looks like he's going to set it for them. I don't know. He doesn't know how to set it either. Sweet. Fun way to kick off the match. They look fine though. Geoff drinking water there? Yeah. All right. It doesn't look like we're going to get beers like sand or anything like that. They look like they could be kind of more on the fun side, Maybe they could be beer drinkers at some point. Now that glass has a tint to it, I think. What do y'all think? Doesn't look like water, but I don't know what it is. I can't tell what's going on. Everyone's happy with the clock? Maybe? Mate the clock officiator. Okay, okay, I saw a handshake coming across. Geoff Hall's ready to get started. Francisco's ready to get started. Let's go. 11-point finals match in the second chance bracket. 6-2 to open. Standard splitting play. We'll see. Probably, I think everyone plays it this way. I don't see too many people try to run or slot or anything like that, but every now and then. Oh, there's the headphones. Okay, we got a focused player. Gonna make the 3-point here for sure. And a 6-1. Wow, options. It's like one of these quiz problems. Pretty sure the 5 point's going to be best for lack of an ace. But he's going to go ahead and go for that. Yep. Everything good. Double twos can make an anchor and make the 4, I think. I don't see why it needs to hit loose instead. It seems like always a waste to have to spend all 3 of your twos to hit loose when you could do a couple good things. Oh, I always miss these too. Let's see if he's going to find this heads-up play. But it's so easy to forget after you make the 3-point and you roll double twos that you can switch and turn it into a blitz or an attack and take away the tempo, disconnect from anchoring. Lots of nice things about that. Very small miss there. But okay, Francisco going to respond with twos of his own and has the stronger structure to start. But Geoff has the anchor and Francisco's still wide open. So this is just going to bring a checker into the zone. Can't take advantage of that split quite yet. Francisco looking for a 6 to link up. 4-2 will do it. Okay, and we got a relatively simple mutual holding game, but of course with the 22-point, a little extra priming value. When he briefly considers making the 9-point because that extra priming value, but it seems a little too loose to go for that. Yeah. 3-1, so there's not going to be a whole lot for Geoff to do here. Maybe he can just make the 5, though, and tempt his opponent to come off his anchor if they want, and make sure he has the pure board. Has to leave a shot or do something really ugly otherwise. So I like this play quite a bit. Has the perfect 4-point board. No one with a big race advantage. So 5-3, probably just going to play simple and let the 11 go, I imagine here. Less pressure on Francisco to do anything with this position. Geoff is the one that's going to run out of timing being a little deeper on his anchor. So yeah, I think a quiet play is called for. But look, we could find this 2 down and hope to make the bar point a little more often. Okay, both very close. Both reasonable plans. Definitely too early and too close of a race to think about anything like running off the anchor here. Let's see what he comes up with. Looking over variance right now. Okay, so he thinks maybe he can do a little bit of both and play the 8-5, 11-6. We can see this is like a, I guess it leaves a shot in the outfield without the benefit of making the bar point. So not the preferred play there. But okay. Definitely within the realm of reason. The 5 is nice to cover the 8-point and reestablish a landing spot against this bar point anchor, but then we have no ace with it. Maybe it's still okay to play 3-2. I think 8-2 just looks too stiff. So I think I'm okay leaving a couple of blots in board on this roll, most likely. Both quite close, though. Both very reasonable candidates. 6-3. Again, Francisco just kind of buying time until Geoff gets to the point where he has to do something, I think, with this position. So most likely this is just playing behind 11-2. I don't see too many alternatives here. 13-4 and leaving the ace with the blots behind is an interesting idea. Okay, distribution a little bit better. We stay in front of the anchor as well. So, interesting play beat. All right, we're in that butterfly anchor kind of game where I think 9s are still going to have to try to run here if he gets the opportunity. 5-3, not a very good running roll. I think we're just playing off the midpoint. Coming on in. Well, look at this. He should actually work on his board first and just clear the 8. That's a surprise to me. I guess because Francisco is so stripped and likely to leave shots somewhere that he wants to be ready this roll. But Francisco doesn't need to, so he can just cover the deuce and play 5-4. Looks like a fine opportunity for a quiet play. Oh, making the ace keeps the spares a little bit nicer too. Good interaction with the 8 too, so nice little tactics here to find something a little bit stronger if he wants to. And he's looking at that play first. Okay, that's good focus. That's an easy one to overlook. Marginal difference in the plays, of course, but yeah, indicates to me that he's seen this kind of stuff before. Looking sharp so far. Yeah, and given that he's like looking over the plays, I guess he's got some sort of method for kind of visualizing what numbers are going to play which way afterward. Getting a feel for how he thinks about the game now. Yeah, I think this is just shuffling checkers and board seems fine. Not too big of a liability to have the blot on the 4 right now. Geoff buying time as well. Francisco probably looking to a 5 down would be fine. 6-4, I think, should clear the 8 points. I don't think he wants to leave shots on the bar or extra from the midpoint or anything like this. Still quiet and wait for Geoff to reach his tipping point. Something is about to go for Geoff. And running off the anchor would be kind of scary here. 4-1, I think. Well, even if we play Pier and cover the 4, we don't have an ace afterwards. So I think the 5's just going, and we're keeping the best 4-point board we can find right now. Yeah, I think that's my instinct there. But look at this. We should go for something Pier here. Okay. Pretty close between the two decisions. Feels like the human play. Yeah, a little bit better to clear the 5. This is interesting looking to play 8-4 and 6-5. I'm not sure what the gain would be there. Ace is not consistently scary, but when he gets a shot, he can still hit it and have a lot of threats with the 4-point board. So okay for Geoff, I think. Still super close game for both of them here. 3-1 can cover the deuce point and just wait another roll. Francisco with a pretty significant racing lead in this now too. So if he can just roll a set to clear, he's good. If Geoff rolls a set, he'll still have a little bit of work to do. 6-3. Okay, something's got to go. He's down in the race. Can he afford to run to the 13 when it's just 10s and aces that are going to hit loose? But he covers the outfield really well with this. He buys himself a bunch of flexibility. I don't think the gammon threat's so big. And it's just going to happen next roll if he doesn't. So I think he still has to go for it. Wow, I'm off on that though. Clearing the 8 and waiting a roll is better. It just looks so ugly, and I don't know how we're going to follow up on that. But again, the 5-point board, quite scary. So not too surprised to see that that's a little bit too big here. We can see it gives up just way too many more gammons. This is a tough one, though. I feel like holding games get so difficult at these breaking points like this, trying to figure out, what should go, how long should I wait, when's the time to make a bold play. And they're very sensitive to all the race and exactly what's going on with our opponent's position. And I don't know, require a pretty deep understanding of the game. So even though they happen a lot and seem relatively simple in general, I feel like holding games can lay a lot of traps like this, where we might think about running 22-13 or something and give up quite a bit of equity and just lose a gammon too often. There he is reaching for that back checker. Totally understandable, I think. And the swings in equity just get a lot bigger when we're so close to the end of the game like this, too. It's just like there's less time to kind of recover on whatever the sequence is. Okay, apparently he had a cube after that play, too. That is not a thing that I really considered. But I guess with so many loose hits and losing his market by a mile when it goes, he's often going to make some sort of bold play here as well. So it makes a lot of sense that he wants to get in the cube before the volatility, before he cashes in on that. Of course, nothing with for Geoff here. Aces is going to hit, though. Exactly what he was looking for. Let's look at that cube real quick. Yeah, monster cube. So many gammons here after that. And that's going to be a big part of why the running play was a problem there. Probably didn't have the same kind of cube after just breaking the 8. So the ace can hit. The rest of it's a little trickier. And I think he does have to go for it. But what can he do? Maybe he wants to... Ooh, this feels like very stiff, but it seems reasonable to shift 2 to ace for the interaction with the 8. And then I'm still not sure what to do with the rest. Maybe we can just play all 3 down and shift 2 to ace. That's an idea anyway. But he has the right idea there. Look at this. That lifting, just lifting and not playing for contact is the ideal here. It makes sense. His board's better, and if he can just get away with going to a race, that's his kind of best plan for winning here, I guess. He's looking at the best play. Let's see if he can pull the trigger on it. I have the hardest time coming up with these really kind of in pure racing oriented plays. They're just difficult ones to make over the board, I think. Nice find by Geoff. Well played there. 5-3 is going to enter, but the 3 is a bit of a problem. Is he going to have to go? Okay, he's just going to play behind there. The suicide split, a little bit interesting there, but not under so much pressure with the better board to destroy his purity and everything like this. 1-6 is just going to... Oh, it can come out and come to safety. Okay, yeah. No reason to give aces in board, but he improves the 9s by a lot. I think I like his instinct here. Very close race, too. So even after getting hit, Francisco not in that much trouble in this game. And he hits, and this can claim it and still win gammons. He might be too good after a roll like this. On a fan, I'm not sure what he should do with the cube here. There could be something coming here. He's just going to send it instantly. Okay, so it's too much volatility still. He should claim it. That's surprising with these numbers, though. Over 80, over 20% gammons, and still better to just claim it because the contact with the 18. So we're going to end that one in a double pass and move on to the next game. 10 away, 11 away. Funky game to start it, too. Nice and complicated decisions. No warm-ups, I guess. Everyone seems to be struggling with how to unpause that clock. 5-4 standard split to open. And 6-5 is still just going to run a checker. Less attractive when we're still kind of down in the race. Only gaining 2 pips there over the 9. 3-1. Yeah, I think it still makes sense to make the offensive point. Though, of course, it could be harder. Our opponent's never going to make that. So 5s are going to blitz. Okay. Oh, I think they are. What should he do instead? Wow, he needs to find a racing play and avoid all this contact. Okay. I can see that somewhat. I wondered about it a little bit, but just moved on with the single checker escaped and playing against the 5 point. It's just not the right plan. Very interesting. And now after a fan, Geoff is in a very dominating game positionally. Small race lead, but all the impurity, I think it could still be enough for a cube just with the threat of linking up and bringing more checkers into the zone. And it's barely even a take. Wow. But he's going to skate by it. Easy to pass that one up, I think. Looks like he should make a board point here. Can't really do anything too productive with the back checkers. I guess he could escape one all the way to the midpoint, but why make a stack of 5 out there? Well played on the checkers. Double aces is going to bring a little bit of life back into this position for Francisco. Has the anchor at least. Then maybe the best he can do is just slide 6-3 and pick up a checker on the way and take a tempo away. I don't see a final ace if he makes the 23, for example. Maybe splitting is okay. I mean, maybe this is the DMP play. Feels like it's going to win a few or lose a few extra gammons, though. Yeah, okay. Double 2s is going to return fire. Oh, and another missed cube here. A lot of volatility on that roll. And maybe you will see the shift 2 to 8 or 3 to ace this time. This looks like a nice play in like a sort of blitzy position. Wow, so many good candidates here. And just cleans up the checker instead, tries to coast to a cube. 3-6 is going to fan, and now he's lost his market by a mile. Is it too good is the question. Barely had to take last roll. And so he's going to send it over, but he's 170 too good now. Okay. So he's a little bit behind on the window here. Probably underestimating how bad it is to have checkers on the ace and the 3 here like this. This structure for Francisco is just so weak. Stack of 6 checkers too. And Francisco's going to take it though. Okay. So Francisco still thinks there's life in there. Maybe somehow Geoff has an idea about this player that he likes to take deep too. That would be a reason to wait and still get it in here. 5-6 fans. And now Geoff in a great spot to win a gammon on this game here. 4-2 can bring a checker down into the zone to the bar point. With 2 up, we don't really... Just double 4s would get there, but we can't worry about total miracles like that too much. I guess we could clean up and get off them and play like 8-6 or something like this, but I feel like 13-7 is just like where we want the checker to be. It's a little too front-loaded. He'd rather bring 2 checkers into the zone is very interesting to me, but they all run very close. I like that play. 1-2 is going to establish the 24 point and at least save some gammons, generate some wins down the road. But again, very tough to expect to win this game with this impure structure, even if he does get a late game shot. So Francisco's got his work cut out for him. I mean, the ace is making the bar point for sure. And then the 4 I assumed would come down to prevent an advanced anchor or something like this. But he spent some time considering just running as well. Okay. 5-6 is going to fan. And now looking for something to close out that 4 point is the next big piece of the puzzle. How loose do we want to play here? We can cover, or we could spread out and make more ways to make the 4. And yeah, spreading out a little bit better, but quite close. 2-6 is a fan, okay. And it will be a difficult game somewhat for Geoff if he can't make that 4 point along the way. That contact can be very valuable. Now he's ready to just run. I was thinking just bring checkers into the zone, yeah. So he's not super focused on closing that board out either, okay. I think there's no ace, so I think we have to come in deep. Even though it's illegal to put a third checker on the 24, I think here's an exception. I like the play there. And he's going to hope to mobilize that checker later. A little bit too provocative to enter high as well. 5-4 is just going to come around, sure. That seems reasonable to just play a little bit quiet now. And hoping to get around before Francisco can get his board in order. 5 down for sure, and then, yeah, the ace spreads out. That makes enough sense to me. Also nice to make the 8 there for the interaction with the deuce, but no big deal there. 2 down should be fine. It's going to leave just a 3-4 fly shot, but he'll be in great order to make the 4 point, and it's a little early for Francisco to be hitting anyway. Double 2s gets to make the 5 point. Wow, big improvement to his position for Francisco. So his board is looking fairly ready for some contact in a 24-point game now. 4-3 gets to close out that super important 4 point, 6 prime in order. So things are coming together for Geoff still. 4-3 can, yeah, 2 down. We're just trying to make the 4 point now. Bringing checkers down, making points in order. Well, the 6 is forced, it's in. And then the 2, yeah, we'd rather not make it harder to clear the bar point, but the other 2s don't look any better. So I think I like his decision there too. Close to just play 5-3 instead. This should just slot the 4 point. Maybe his thought is that he might get a shot this roll, and so he could do something like make the 10 and play 11-7 and be a little bit more ready for immediate contact. I hope everyone in back isn't like watching on the phone here. That would be amazing if they were just catching up with feedback on the cube decision there. That would be something. Yeah, it does look like, yeah, I think just slotting should be the preferred play here. Oh, but he's going to make the bar point. Okay, the bar point doesn't seem to do a whole lot in this position. No 6 to play. So, yeah, it's a little deep. It doesn't interact with the ace well. It doesn't help you make the deuce in the 4. So, better options available. But it seems it's hard to get out of that thinking that bar points are good points, right? So, maybe it brings the checkers closest to home. And maybe he's thinking about saving gammons. I'm not sure exactly there. Double aces is going to clear the 7 safely and probably just continue on to the 4, getting ready to clear that 6. I think we like the spare, 1 spare on the 6 for now until we peel some checkers. We want to be ready to clear it before we have gaps deeper. The 6 out, beautiful shot for Francisco to avoid overrunning his position for sure. And gets to slot the next most important point. Double 2s. So now Geoff is going to have some dilemmas about, do I need to play aggressively to win a gammon, or do you need to play maximum safety and just clear from the rear? Against the 24 point, I think we tend to clear, but that's going to make the point pretty tall. I think I like this play, though. Yeah. Oh, there's a 5-3 to clear with it, too. Okay, interesting. I wouldn't have found that. The 4-2 seems pretty good. So I guess it leaves a 6-5, even though 6-4 and 5-4 would leave shots the other way. Francisco gets to cover and bring a checker in. Nice shot for him. 4 ace. Yeah, so seeing the last play, I think he'll just take them both out the 4 point here, probably. And now that's right. Interesting. I'm not sure what it was about last roll that he wanted to play 5-3. Strange stuff. But things coming home nicely for Geoff. Double fours is going to move a lot of pips to help Francisco save the gammon for sure. So he gets to come in with both. I think that's the plan. Maybe he's going to think about saving a 6 and not getting pulled off or something like this. But I think it's better to just play in and deal with that when it comes. And we're saving so many gammons when it occurs anyway that I don't think we need to worry about it too much. But it's not too bad. I guess we win a little bit more when we make sure we stay on the anchor longer. We just risk some gammons. That's the trade-off there. And he goes for the gammon saving play. 6-4 is going to take 2 off for Geoff. And now he's got some shot leaving numbers next roll. Let's see. Double fours. Ouch. Okay, well, it's going to temporarily make the closed board. And then it's going to start to destroy the board. So he's crunched. It's going to be very hard to win even after a shot. Has to remake that 6 point. 4-3 for Geoff. Just going to take 2 checkers off. 3-1 can't escape the structure from the back either. So now he's stuck shuffling checkers in the board again. More buried. Very unlikely he'll be able to close out. Still, I don't think the gammons are too likely here. Oh, they're almost 50%. Interesting. Clears another point after this roll, after that safe shot. Double threes. Ouch. Okay, this is going to not escape another checker. Now the gammons are getting real. Not getting to move a single checker while Geoff is down to 9 is really going to threaten a gammon quite a bit there. Double aces. It's going to be safe, but it's not really getting closer to the gammon. I think there's only one way to play it, too. Yep. Is there? I mean, you could leave shots, I guess. 6-3. Okay, there we go. That's going to take a lot of the gammon pressure off for Francisco. Still going to have a near impossible time winning this. 2 off for Geoff. Yeah, still up like 50% gammons. Okay, so they're quite scary. I think he still needs to stay back for contact to make Geoff have to play some rolls certain ways since he can play all his pips outside efficiently anyway. It's getting questionable though, because it's going to be hard to, I mean, I don't. The question I guess is what's the easier way to save the gammon? And hitting a checker actually turns out to be the best way to do that at this point. But yeah, the win is nearly out of the question with so many checkers off in the destroyed board. He needs a really big roll or a really little roll. 3-1 I think is going to hang around for contact for lack of options here. Just gets to play into the board. And now gammon imminent. And it looks like he is big favorite to receive the full punishment for this late too good cube and trying to play it out. We saw he had some winning chances and made Geoff work for it. But yeah, a little too optimistic there and a few too many gammons at risk. And now at major risk of going to 11 away, or sorry, what is it going to be? 7 away, 10 away to start the match. 4 points is so many in these 11-point matches. Hard to overcome. That rates to be a big advantage here. And so he seems really conflicted about just leaving the contact or playing in here. But, I mean, at this moment, it just seems like a deuce immediately leaves a shot. Like, we might need to hit it to save the gammon. Like, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crossovers to get off to our opponent's 5, so they're on lead roll. And we have bigger crossovers and everything, so it doesn't seem like valuing the pips here is the way to get off. Oh, and he asks if he can just resign the gammon here. Okay. Yeah, so he decides to... Oh, interesting. Okay, but he can still run off it. Very strange. He just says he's going to run out, and that's going to save the backgammon. And, of course, Geoff happy to accept that. But, I mean, for sure there are miracles where he can get off it there. Very interesting. I guess, I don't know. Not everyone likes to roll it out for their, like, really unlikely chances there. But okay. We'll make sure that he actually resigned to gammon and puts it on the board before I see this. Yep. And that's going to be a 4-1 lead. All right, 3-2. So with the match lead now, I think we're going back to splitting. We'll see if Geoff has some sort of style preference for down. Nope, nope. He's just going to go with the standard splitting play. And 6-1 is going to make the bar point. Nice shot for Francisco for sure. Yeah, this kind of style where like taking deep and things like that, it does add a lot of volatility to the game. And he can potentially get into spots where he has turnarounds for big chunks of the match. So it's a double-edged sword. For sure we're giving up some like theoretical equity, but it can also be the way that someone makes like a deep run like this and just ends up on the right side of those decisions for a few matches in a row, you know? It gives you a chance. 5 in, 6, I think, I don't see anything better than just slotting with this now. No need to come out into like more shots we might be able to gain by making a point. So I like that decision by Geoff. 3-2 looks worth pointing on head. Even though it gives up 2 points to do it and leaves the stacks everywhere, it's not the way we had planned to do it. But I mean, what other option do we have? I would go for it here. It's the 5 point, very strong point. The structure looks weak afterward, like we're going to leave a lot of shots from the bar. But even if we get hit from the bar, we have chances to go hit our opponent on their slotted 5. So lots of good can come out of this for sure. Nice play by Francisco. 4-5. Ouch, what a whiff of a roll here. I guess the 5 can play passively down, but with blots everywhere and so much going on, maybe the tempo hit on the ace is okay this early in the game. It's quite tempting. Just running past all the chaos. Okay, that's a nice distraction play out to the 16. I don't mind that. Tricky. Nice. This is a good find. Of course, the distribution 13-8 looks kind of good here too. 4-1. What is this going to do? This gets to hit and make the bar point, I do believe. Oh, wait. Which hit, though? It's got to hit on the 20. Yeah, this is what I saw at first, too. Somehow I, like, missed. So he's going to make the bar point, I think. And Francisco misses a pretty big cube here, too, with threats, racing lead, slightly better board, trailing in the match. Eventually turns around and sees that he can hit on the 5 instead. I think that's the better checker. And, yeah, for sure, not too bad to hit on the 9. But misses a nice score volatility cube there. Okay. Ace 3 can enter on the ace and voluntarily prime, but then hit at least. I think worth it. Worth it to be primed, because this isn't exactly a priming structure with the stack of 5 checkers on the 6. So I think probably a little more like attack and blitz value anyway. I like this decision by Geoff. And now Francisco's going to slow down and think about, well, do I have enough now that he's got like a small prime and blots all over the board? It's gotten to be a smaller cube, but something about it is speaking to him, and his spidey senses are tingling. Might get it in this time. But decides to wait. Okay. So I think the 2 in and flatten out, I like that. Even though we don't like the checker on the 23, would prefer it on the 24. I think it's worth it to get to smooth out 6-5. Another option to split to the bar there. Okay. Got a couple fine alternatives. 4-2. Well, it can link up with the 10 if it wants. He's way down in the race, though, and it feels like he needs a board. This is tricky. I'm not sure. I guess connecting blots must be pretty strong. 6-2. What can this do? Not a lot. Can't get to safety with either checker. So it looks like maybe we play down to the 7 and just up 23-21. He's going to play all offense, though. Yeah, that seems like a fine candidate as well. Little bit of a miss not to spend anything on the back checkers, though. You can see he's stripped his midpoint now, so he's fairly inflexible, and he gives Geoff a lot of incentive to stay on that. Oh, back point I was going to say, but he's going to run here. Is this... Okay, this is the best he can do. Wow, I would have had a hard time finding this, given all the attacking features of this position. This is going to hit and make the 4 point. Great shot for Francisco. And misses a cube there again, and sizable. I mean, obviously hits one of the best in the deck there. But this is looking not particularly playable for Geoff at this point. Regardless of what 6 he plays, he goes for the tempo hit. Seems fine instead of coming down into the double shot. But structurally better, ahead in the race, threatening to hit from the roof. Even when he misses, his opponent has a checker misplaced on the deuce now. So I think we have like a normal score cube coming for sure, and the question will probably be more about the take or pass now. And we're actually close to the too good borderline. Very interesting. So he has an optional play on at this point too. Yeah, and he decides he wants to play for a gammon and keep the pressure on instead of just settling for the 1 point. Okay, I like it. 3-1. He could enter deep and keep pressure on the blot on the 23. Maybe that's the best we can do with it. And then like 7-4. Otherwise, he can enter high and maybe get 10-9 to get that checker into the battle. I like this idea though. Yeah, okay. All very close. Just advancing to try to make an advanced anchor is fine too. 2-6. I feel like he just has to go for a loose hit here. But that's pretty big against the board. I really don't know. He can't run off the 24 at this point. Maybe covering's okay. Just wants to clean up and play damage control. Okay. Well, he could have made the 4 point with it as well. Okay. And now, after this destructive roll, Francisco ready to get the cube in. Slightly too good still. And Geoff with an easy pass. Going to move on to 7 away, 9 away. All right, a 3-2 open. We saw Geoff split last time. Presume he'll go for it again. (4-1) is not the most desirable tempo hit, but I think we can still go for it even though it's from the 8. We definitely prefer unstacking when we hit, but nothing really better to go with here. The hit and split. And he gets away with it for now. Maybe the 6 can just top pass, but there is good duplication too. Oh, he's going to go for the tempo. Okay, that seems actually pretty strong. Yeah. Nice find by Geoff. Okay. 3 enters. Those are so easy to overlook, the tempo hits. The deep hits like that, you know. Slightly ahead in the race after. I don't know why he wants to get another blot involved, so I think probably just running to the 16 makes a lot of sense here. I don't really see much of a play B. Surprised how close it is to add another blot to the mix, but I guess there's a lot going on, so something like a distraction play and more covers when we get away with it to play 13-7. 6-5 can... It can cover the deuce, but I mean the 18 point is just so strong here, but it takes pressure off the blot, leaves shots anyway. This position is so wide open that I'm like very confused by it. My instinct is still to try to solidify it and make the 18, but I wouldn't be surprised if after, with everything going on, covering the deuce is a little bit better. Yeah, totally understandable play there. 6s is going to cover the 4 point, can't escape the back checker to safety. After that, it's got to make the deuce. There's only one way to play it, isn't there? Oh, no. I guess he could leave a shot if he wants. So, yeah, he'll be giving up the 8 point, which is a scary thing to have happen against bar point anchor. It'll be hard to bring those 5 checkers on the midpoint home. 2-1, yeah, I think for lack of options, we're just going to shift 2 to ace, and we get to make a point out of the 11. This looks nice. And Francisco with a hit will be in good shape, but still a lot of work to do. But he wants to pause and think about this cube. This seems like a difficult one to bring home, and a little bit too early. Geoff, oddly, with the blot on the ace, still kind of has the more pure and flexible position. Francisco already a little bit overrun with the 4 and the deuce and the stacks of 5 on the midpoint and the 6 point. So it's just very stiff and going to cause him a lot of long-term problems unless he rolls something perfect like a set. I don't think the ace from the roof is enough of a threat to really create a compelling cube here. But that tends to be like the first level that we think about it. It's just, well, I might hit, so I have market losers, so do I need to send it on that? But they're not always market losers, right? 5-3. So yeah, this is a tough roll already. What is he going to do with this? Maybe he can just bring the 5 down to the 8 and try to make that piece of structure. He's going to need an outfield point at some point. I like this decision. And he leaves Geoff with the decision with the 1-6. I think he's not ahead in the race enough after hitting, so he should just go for something structural like this. I like it. Makes the 5 point. Unstacks his 6 point. Looks good. Deuce 6 gets to hit in the outfield. Beautiful shot for Francisco. And this could be enough on a really poor entry to get a cube coming soon. Francisco threatening to make the 8 point more than anything. 5-2 is going to enter at least, maybe it can, oh, it can hit. It can hit. Okay. I was going to say, linking up with the 18, not too bad there. Leaves a pretty strong holding game. 3-6 cannot pick up the checker on the ace, and not going to have a lot of options. He can bury a checker to the deuce or hop out. I'm still inclined to play pure, but it's like every number is going to hit when we do that. Maybe we can't anymore. It's just hard to know how we're going to bring this home without making the 8 point. Very tight running game there for all the liabilities of the position with the race advantage here. This is quite a tricky play. Yeah, so he's going to go for that and just kind of play for it all on this roll. We can see, like, when you're around that 50-50 borderline, it seems like the equity difference and the punishment in XG's evaluation just gets very high, too. Late in the game when there's big shifts and when you're, like, dead even and it's the difference between winning and losing seem to be huge differences in the bot's mind. Here, he has to go for the hit, right? 18-17. He has to leave shots all over the place anyway. And then probably the best 5 with it is just to cover and have a nice attacking position. And they're both really loose and wide open after it. But he has a foot down on the 20 where he can anchor maybe even when he's hitting the outfield or something. So I think it's worth going for. We can see a massive difference in XG's opinion of all these plays too because of how close we are to that 50-50. It's the difference between being a favorite and being a sizable underdog to hit or not. So he's going to count through at all the shots. And, I mean, this is a wise thing to do to really evaluate the position. We can see a lot of gammons on both sides. But if he counts enough shots, I hope it's not something that ends up talking him out of the strategic concept here, which is just that he needs to hit and go for the win somehow. And he's just on the back foot too much and leaving too much attacking anyway. So maybe if he looks at the position without hitting, he can find out how many hits there are when he doesn't do that, which, I mean, there's a lot. Right? So, I mean, I guess his play B is maybe just to clean up 11-5. And if he does that, many 3s and aces are hitting loose anyway. Yeah, good find, Geoff. Okay. And a lot swinging on this roll. I don't think it's enough to cube being an underdog at a big enough score discrepancy for sure. But the volatility is through the roof on this roll for sure. A fan can easily lose the game. A hit can easily win the game. 3-2. What is this going to do? Gets to hit in the outfield. Okay. Beautiful shot for Francisco. And if Geoff can't anchor here, he's in a lot of trouble here. 2-6 is going to fan. Okay, yeah. This could be even, once again, like in the too good range. I think we've skated by, yeah. But we've seen, I think Francisco is going to be on the tendency to claim. So we'll see if he wants to try to play this one out or not. This time there's a lot of blots involved and probably the gammons are more apparent. Maybe Geoff's position doesn't look quite as scary as usual. Nope, but he's going to go ahead and reach for that cube, send it across. Geoff with another easy pass. We're going to move on to 7-away, 8-away. So he likes getting his point when he has the advantage, and he hates giving the point up when his opponent's leading. But, I mean, at least his, like, cube shifting is, or, like, window shift is consistent, I would say. You know, he's, like, late on the cube and late on the take, too. It's funny when players don't like to send the cube and then also don't like to take it. It's like, I don't know. It's sort of, you must not be thinking about it from both sides to be able to play that way. This guy just seems to think games should get played out more or something. 7-away, 8-away. Man, they've been getting into some really interesting positions. It can be really challenging to get off the map a little bit, off the beaten path, you know. 5-3 going to open with the points. And double twos is going to make the 4 and 11 kind of the standard play anyway. Now in the the 3-point is made and blocked, then for sure we have to do that. 4-3. This, I know this double twos is a priming structure. So even though there's 10 in the zone, I think he's under a lot of pressure to split here. But wow, they're quite close. 2 down is fine. Actually slightly favored play. I probably would have made a small mistake there. 3-1 would have pointed on head. Now it's just going to make the really strong rack anyway. And Francisco with a good advantage in this position to begin with. But Geoff with good diversity to make the 5-point as well. He gets to do it, has to give up the 8 though. So still I think I favor Francisco's position a little bit here for the timing and priming value. And now I favor it a lot. Comes out to the bar. And yeah, I think it's worth making the 5 prime and leaving the ace shot. And this game could be over also. We could have a tie score after this. Double 5s is just a disaster. I guess maybe it's not so bad. Goes to the 4 and makes the ace. So leaves a lot of play in the position. But I don't think he'll be able to take for the lack of timing. And he's actually going to make a play that's going to allow him maximum, flexibility in the next roll to not crack. Oh, this is the best play too. I probably would have stayed stiffer and tried to make a point and play for the contact right away. But okay, Francisco going to play on too good here. Interesting. I thought he would have paused longer to think about the cube, but he wants to win a little bit more here. And it looks like he wants to play big and keep the contact back on the 18 too. That's very interesting. I think that could be a plan for Geoff to get home if he rolls, the ace and buys some time to step up. But no, okay. Francisco going to think better of it and move on. And 6-3, so Geoff has some room to just start playing checkers into his board, try to make some structure. It's a bit scary to split here. Doesn't have timing to play the 24 points, so maybe he will if he gets the opportunity with the deuce, but probably just loses too many gammons. But going to be very difficult for Geoff to win this game. 6-3, yeah, this looks like very beautiful distribution. Nice play by Francisco. And 2-5, moment of truth. I don't think he can split here. We always have to think about it when we're so stuck behind there. Wins a little bit more. It's the DMP play, but gives up too many gammons. Oh, and he plays into, instead of focusing on the board, he's just going to try to kill his 6s and preserve the purity of his checkers for as long as he can. I like that idea quite a bit. Should help him to crack a little bit less. The deuce is going to cover now, and then the 3 can cover as well, but he plays it from the 6. Okay, this must be thinking that he's going to try to probably lose the 6-point and try to lose as few more after that as he can by keeping spares high. 5-2 can just play into the 5. (5-1), advancing nicely, still no split of course. And now Francisco worried that he might crack and have trouble making the deuce points, or could get stuck behind his opponent's prime. So pauses to think about the cube. Still a little bit too good. Unlikely to win a gammon here, but also very difficult to not have a cube in a subsequent roll. Even if he gets hit, he can probably cube from the roof or something like this if he wants to. 3-6, not the worst. At least the 6s don't play, and doesn't have to kill any checkers or crack his board quite yet. All right, the spectators are rolling in. 6-4 is going to roll the 8 forward, so smooth ride so far for Francisco. Double 4s is not what Geoff was looking for. That's going to cause some major problems with his board and allow Francisco to maybe pounce after Geoff runs with a 6, something like this. So some gammons here, but going to take something special to happen to get there. Ooh, double 2s cracks a little bit further. Really nasty set of sequence of doubles for Geoff there. In a lot of trouble here. We'll be happy to save the gammon in this position at this point and end up at an even match score. 4-1 brings 2 in, but the structure not the best, so there can be a lot of early shot levers here that would help Geoff save the gammon. 4-1, not one of them. I think it probably takes a checker off. Yeah, and then the 6-5 seems very nice, of course. 6-2 forced to run out. And will Francisco be able to close him out? If he can, he's going to have probably 10%-ish gammons, doing pretty decent. If he can't, like this, is it worth the loose hit to slow him down? Possible. I mean, the ace looks kind of awkward either way. Yeah, okay, he just slides forward and plays for the wins instead. 3-win, 3-1, comes around the bend. And now Francisco's going to pause to see if he should be worried about shots he might leave again. Gammons are going down rapidly, not too many left. Still technically too good, but I mean, he's not giving up too much to just claim this at this point. So we'll see what he wants to do with it. Will be a pretty simple pass for Geoff if he gives him the opportunity. And he decides it's time to just claim this one. One more point on the board, taking him away one at a time to get back into an even game. 7 away, 7 away. We're going to play a 7-point match. So he survived that early too good take pretty well here to get back to even. And we have a 2-3 to open for Francisco this time. See if he's got any style here. He saw Geoff do the 3-2 split, so he's going to try that too, I think. 6-1 can make the bar point. Nice shot. $5-1 doesn't do a whole lot. Maybe, I guess the 13-8 feels pretty nice. Stepping up to the edge is a little scary. Maybe it's a little too much to just run out. I'm not sure. Ah, okay, we can slot and duplicate fours. That's a fun idea. I like that play now that I see it. I'm not always looking for duplication that aggressively in the opening. But that's a good third roll example of that. Remember that one at home. 3-2 split 6-1.51. I'm sure it'll be in Thomas's book. 6-5 I think is just going to find a simple running play. We could split or play down or something, but we're ahead in the race. I don't know why it would be so different here. And, oh, look at this. Pointing on the ace is actually a pretty compelling option, too. Okay. They run close, so reasonable to stop and think about it. I guess blots around and threatening to get to safety. It's nice to take away a tempo as part of the idea there. 6-3 can make the 5-point. Oh, it can link up in the outfield, too, though. Maybe that's a little bit better. We leave quite a few shots. Yeah. Easy to overlook that play. Okay. 6-5 is going to run to safety for Geoff. And he's got a pretty simple plan here now. Francisco is going to have to link up or keep up in the race. He's got the better board for now, so not under too much pressure. But when your only game plan is contact with no anchor and racing, it's a pretty tough position to be in. Fortunately, Geoff still has work to do to develop and bring that home. But it can quickly turn into a big advantage for Geoff in this kind of position. I think Francisco should still just come around the bend. I don't think being in the outfield is helping him. Wow, this is super interesting. 15-11 seems pretty automatic to me. But he can just link up and play for contact with the better board because he is in such a bad spot if he just tries to escape and play a single checker back anyway. I like this. He has this idea, too. Pretty sharp to be looking for this. Decides on the simple play in the end. I think I would have as well. 5-6 gets to bring 2 down for distribution. I don't think it wants to switch to pointing on the ace or anything like this. This is just such a threatening priming and attacking structure. Nice and pure 16 pip lead. Could, depending on the roll, be in range of cubing. I think this is a strong enough board to hold it off. Or at least make it an easy take for Francisco, but we'll see. Yeah, just the race alone is enough to send it already. Okay. and so likely to be able to develop this position. If he makes the 5-point or something like that, that does seem like a pretty solid market loser. 4 prime a lot to deal with here too. 6-4 not his best. Is he going to make the 2-pointer play down? Maybe the purity seems nice, but it leaves too many fly shots, I guess, against that strong board. So yeah, nice find there. That should weaken his cube decision a little bit for next roll. 6-4, running to being down 12 in the race just doesn't seem like enough, so I think we just have to make the bar point. It's hard to make running plays when escaping doesn't leave you winning the game anyway. And then you might be just hitting the outfield too. And you lose the opportunity to develop your offensive position. I wonder what those spectators are watching and talking about. I hope it's something else. They're just watching the news or something. Uh-oh, he's reaching for that back checker, though, and thinking about it. Maybe he just needs to count the race first and see how far down he is. But I think, yeah, thematically, it just doesn't seem like how are we trying to win this game? We're trying to get into a down 12 pips race. Seems like an easy cube for Geoff after that. And the take is maybe questionable, given that we're getting close to the borderline just in a pure race. And he also has a shot where he might make the race come like pretty dead. At least when he's back here, he has chances to hit fly shots. Okay, the slotting play should be okay too. And now Geoff has to think about the cube. I think it's reasonable, but weaker than last time. 5-3. I'm still thinking about playing down here, but I guess there are fly shots. It's a little bit scary. But we have to leave fly shots anyway if we switch 8-3. We kind of like getting off the 8 now that we've made the deuce, though. So that's a compelling argument in the other direction. Yeah, okay, and it's a little bit better to give it up and go for that attacking structure, get our board ready. 5 gets to cover. Ace can advance somehow, sure. Maybe slotting the bar is a little better. But and now Geoff is ready to send the cube with all the flexibility he's got. I like that, threatening to make the 5 or 4 point. His opponent has a very strong board, but very weak in the race. Still has just enough to play this out with those structural liabilities, but it's awful close. And if he could take the last one, I imagine he's going to try to play this out, but, you know, different position, doesn't have an anchor. He's going to let it go. Okay, not the kind of game that he likes to risk and make his opponent play out. So we're going to move on to 6 away, 7 away. All right, 5-3 points to open for Geoff. That's how we started last time, right? And then we had double 2s. 2-3 this time. I think we're splitting. Challenge that stripped 8 point. And 6-4. It can, okay, it's hitting the outfield. Yeah, nice shot for Geoff. Solid early advantage and not much need to adjust the cube at 6 away, 7 away. So he's going to be thinking about it, but Francisco anchors up and is going to have a game for a long time now. Fine defense here. 5-3. That can bring a checker down to the 8 and 14 to 11. Only indirects. That seems pretty nice. I don't really see what a nice play B would be. We need to keep some flexibility to develop our position and bring it home. 5-6 is going to miss. What can that do? It looks like it might be stuck like attacking on the ace or something like this. 2 down just strips the position already. So, I mean, yeah, 13 to 7 seems like part of it for sure. And a bit of dilemma between these other 5s that we don't like. I like his decision, though. At least he gets a fan on 6s. Maybe he can turn it into a blitz. There's a blot to go chase after. Some upside for sure. 5s would love to just come around and play safe for the race, but can't quite get the safety. So what's the best he can do? I'm not sure here. Maybe making the ace with the blot on the 11 puts nice pressure on the deuce point or something. Seems like it leaves decent spare distribution too. Don't think it overruns too far, but just running and trying to get home. Okay. And yeah. With this, we get to tempt our opponent off the ace as well. So I do like that bit of it, that he's placing the blot in front of the anchor. And he's going to think about just cleaning up here instead. Yeah, I like the checker on the 11 right now. Maybe it's too much, he feels like, in this position after leaving the direct on the 10. So he's just out to the 15 and cleaned up and deciding on the last one. Okay, rewinds it here. Tricky play, though. It's hard to find an option that we like a lot. Once I see the bot's suggestion, it looks good, and I can come up with reasons for it. But I really might get tricked into something weaker like that final play. Pretty easy one to find for me. Or pretty easy one to find a mistake for me. Yeah. I think maybe he was considering this as an option here, too. Coming out to the 15 and cleaning up blots otherwise. But yeah, a lot of times when we have to leave a shot anyway, we look for ways to place it in front of, place it somewhere where our opponent's going to have to give something up to hit. And the direct sixes would give up this very important 21 point to hit, while Francisco's board is very weak. So it's a pretty safe place to park it. In the indirects, of course, he's not too worried about with the blot on the ace either. Plenty of returns, but okay, so he's going to play down and clean up instead. 3-2, Francisco happy to hit, but of course, some liabilities there. Can't let his opponent get full freedom here. But there's going to be returns for Geoff. So still looking pretty good for him in this game. Cleaning up the blot in the outfield a little bit stronger. I don't mind playing for flexibility and trying to have offense when this works too. 4-3 is going to hop in. He's going to get more returns this way too, from the roof. But of course not liking to be hit from the bar there. 5-4 can come in on the 4 and just slot the 5, I think. Don't have a fifth blot home or allow your opponent to escape with tempo. Geoff with a big racing lead, but could use some more landing spaces to bring this home. So doesn't quite have a cube yet. I think he's just going to bring this checker home, get one step closer to freedom. It's a nice builder when it's missed too, and his opponent has so many blots on board that it's hard to hit and do everything all at once. 6-4 is, I mean, I think, yeah, we need to move a back checker. Maybe covering the ace is nice there too. Doesn't matter because he's just supposed to pass. And can Geoff find this with the threat of making the bar or the 5 point? He's got enough race for sure. A few extra gammons with that third checker back in the weak board. Yeah, and so this just 38 pips and everything is too much to handle in this position. It's tricky though, because I mean, we can definitely see that he's got work to do to bring this home, but he's pretty flexible as well. He should have a lot of time with the spares on the 8 and the 6 to bring the mid home somehow. And again, like, he has some opportunities to do that in these rolls before Francisco makes a board too. And he is going to find the cube. Let's see if Francisco wants to play it for sure. He likes his holding games, okay. Sees the contact value and potential there. And 5-1 doesn't do too much. Probably stacking up, but I don't know. Maybe Geoff needs to find a bold play to make this easier to bring home, since he doesn't lose the race when he gets hit or anything like that either. And it's very stiff to put both checkers on the 8. Just wants to play behind instead. Okay, this is an interesting option. But yeah, slotting too much. Interesting there. Just needs to focus on his racing plan. Ace gets the cover, 4 can slot the bar, or start the next point, sure. All these seem fine. And 6-2. He's going to continue to play quiet. No need to park a checker on the 5, I guess. I'm still thinking about it to try to make my game simpler. But it seems like the game plan's fairly decided. Francisco's cleaned up enough. Needs to play safe and hang on to his racing lead. 6-1 is going to hop out for contact instead of making the 4. Yeah, I guess that seems reasonable, but I don't know. Improving the board seems pretty nice too. Interesting how close those all are. Oh, yeah, yeah. He's got this other option of like a minor split. I guess there are a few like hitting covers with this too. That must be reasonably close on the list of moves too. 6-1. Gets to make the bar point and create another landing point to bring a simple race home. 6-4. Does he really want to get out of harm's way or does he want more contact? I think the cover with the 4 seems clear, but maybe we want to stay back. 2014 is better contact, though. Okay, nice find again. He's navigating this well. He knows where he's at in this holding game. 2-1 can hit and clean up the blot. Add some return shots, but it might be the best opportunity to clear the midpoint safely. I think it feels worth going for here. It's not so many shots. It's just 2-1, 4-1, 5-1, and 5-6. And there's a blot and board right now, so given that those are all indirect, he'll get returns, and even if he doesn't hit the return, he will still be ahead in the race even after being hit. So a lot of ways to get away with this and just go for it now, but he wants to play quiet behind and focus on the main game plan of clearing safely and racing, it looks like, or he's going to consider it at least. Definitely a consideration in positions like this. There we go. He's looking at the hitting, play, and covering. Definitely not the easiest decision, but I guess it gets easier if you can realize that you win this many more gammons, full 13% more. It never seems in holding games like that's a big piece of it, but definitely potential here by sending a third checker back, and with such a dominating racing lead. 4-3 wants to come around, doesn't want to be hit anymore, and the 5-1, yeah, why not cover that and turn the blot on the ace into an asset instead of a liability. Nice play. 6-2 and 5-2, I think Geoff would be happy to volunteer here. 6-1, not his best. Going to clear from the rear. So I think the 8's going. I don't think he can volunteer on the midpoint. And 4-2. What can this do? Work on the board somehow, but we can't put it on the next point, the 3-point. So maybe just 11-5 is fine. Okay, this is a way to do it too. Everything aimed at the 3 efficiently. 4-3, still can't clear the mid. Gonna run, I mean, he makes a point behind, but we don't really want that point all that much. You know, we're just running out of spares is what it's really doing. 2-1 can slot the next point finally. Oh, just from the 6, sure. The spare on the 4 is a little front-loaded. 5-4. Can Geoff afford to leave a shot here? No, he doesn't have a way to do it 5-4 blocked anyway. So I think he should give up the 7, but it is possible to give up the spares on the 6 instead. But I think that just leaves him brittle and likely to leave a lot of shots next time anyway. But he wants to keep the landing point for one more roll. Close decision. 5-3. It looks like the midpoint is ready to go. We don't want to start burying checkers. I guess, oh, he can do things like this and play a single checker anchor. What's the real fear here? Yeah, this probably keeps the most contact. I like this idea quite a bit. Runs in there very close. But with 3 dead checkers behind, the thing that we don't have is a blotting board or a deeper place to enter. And so we end up giving Geoff some 3s that can pick and pass. So he gains a little bit there, but still a very close decision on that one. And no real threat of being attacked and closed out with the distribution in place currently. So I like that bold play there. Nice idea. And comes in real close. 2-1 is still sitting back for contact, and there's going to be some shot leaving rolls here potentially too. Looks like 6-2, 6-3 for sure. Probably some others. 5s is not one. No checkers off, but clears completely. Looks like it should be tough to win a gammon with how much wastage he has, but the win should be pretty much locked up now. And yeah, so a smidgen of gammons available. 6 down and 3 in. Okay. 4-2 going to take 2 off, and it looks like we're going to go to 4 away, 7 away. 6 out, 1 in. Okay, nice shot. 6-2 going to take 2 off. 3-2. We can get 2 crossovers? Yeah, so I think we got to take both those. And 5-3 taking 2 off again. Two, 1. Okay, no crossovers, so a little bit of gammon possibility left. Geoff gonna need a few sets to do it, though, I think. Most likely. One is a small roll. Gets 1 crossover at least, but starting to find ways to potentially lose a gammon here with only rolling 3 and 4 pips. 5-1 takes another 2 off. Still only around 5% gammons, so the 6 comes in. The ace. Does that actually help? I think maybe the 2-1 still gets off. I think everything works if he plays 9-8, and I'm not sure everything works here. So I think did he save himself a way to get gammon? Am I imagining that he just left the 2-1? Looks like it by a very small amount. Yeah, he had the gammon locked up, and okay, but he's gonna save it with that roll. And on we go to 4-way, 7-way. These guys are playing pretty quick, too. I feel like. I guess we've been on for a while. A little over an hour here. He won 2 points there. Yeah, there we go. A score legal play is always a problem. 4-away, 7-away, on they go to the next game. (6-2) to open. Should be another standard split. 4-away, 7-away, an interesting score to navigate the cube for Geoff. Has to be a little more conservative. This we look for duplication and find it with this split that he found. 2s everywhere. 3-1. I think the best we can do is just make the 5-point. Looks pretty nice. But wide open, blots all over the board. 5-4 can, I guess, just make a board point. 4-point looks nice. The distribution looks bad, but at least we clean up. What is another option here? Making the 9 in the tempo hit? That's interesting. But yeah, so if Geoff gets into some like dominating gammonish positions, he can still send cubes like a little bit behind where he usually would. Because obviously a gammon to win wins the match on a 2 cube here. So it doesn't, his lead isn't going to slow him down with the cube as much as usual if he was at some score other than 4-away. But in Francisco, it can't be quite as aggressive sending an initial cube either, since that's a possibility to hold it and win. But the recubes are going to be fairly unlikely since Geoff has to recube for the match, so Francisco can be a little more aggressive. Gets to hit loose off the edge. That's a nice shot for him. And maybe we have a cube coming if he doesn't get hit from the roof, but he does. 2 enters, 3 hits. Geoff back with the initiative. And 3-6. What does this do? Can't really hit anywhere, but it can make the anchor, of course. Yeah, 24-18. So that's a nice improvement. He's got that locked up. Geoff going to need to lock up an anchor of his own. He can do it with the 2-3. Maybe the loose hit with it is fine too, since we have to leave shots anyway, but the anchor seems very strong. Gets to unstack the 6 a little bit too. Makes some progress developing. Even though he's ahead in the race and would rather find some sort of safe play, not really an option here. The 3 gets to hit, and is there something better than linking up with the 18? I don't see it. Yeah, with the racing lead, it's okay for Francisco to start to simplify this game a little bit. 1-5 can redistribute a checker from the 13 down to the 8. That looks nice. And Francisco with an advantage here, but not enough to cube even at the trailing score. 6-2. Is there any way to... I guess we could just play 13-5. Is it maybe better to play 11-5 and come off the 18 somehow? I don't know if I see it. I think I kind of want like a chicken play here. 18-10 did look interesting, but it leaves a direct 6 to leave the anchor. But once again, we see the power of leaving that in front of an anchor when our opponent doesn't want to give that up. 2-4 has to do ugly things on the offensive side, so maybe just playing out to the 18 is the best we can do with it. Feels like we want that contact to catch back up in the race, but we don't really have the timing to support 3 checkers back here. We do need to get that one of those checkers mobilized. And we really don't like to make our board more impure than we need to here. But okay, he's going to keep the contact, stay back instead. Francisco wants to think about this one. Does he? Yeah, it still doesn't seem like quite enough, but he's getting into reasonable territory. Again, not too bad because he's not going to have to face much in the line of recubes. He doesn't seem like a super aggressive cuber either, so he does take his time to think about it once in a while, but it feels like this is one that he's going to roll. We'll see, though. It could be a big score adjustment. 5-6. What does this do? Oh, yeah. Gets to play 18 to 13 and clean everything up. Beautiful shot for him. A lot of the risk has gone away for a roll, and feeling a lot better about cashing in on a racing game plan. Double threes. So for the lack of timing, I think switching to the 18 feels pretty nice here. And after we do that, do we just link up 24 to 18 as well? We try to make a board point and keep contact. Last time Geoff showed a preference for keeping the contact, so we could find something like just making the 4-point board here too. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, and that is actually a really strong play. I am surprised that if we make the 18, we should give up the 8. Feels like we want that landing point. I would have been tempted by something like this 24-18, 21-18 twice. But the 5-point, just a huge asset when we're trying to rely on contact to win this game because we're still down in the race. Nice play by Geoff. He seems ready to find the best of it here. And as long as he starts with making the 5, he's going to be doing well. Yeah, again, just from like previous plays of playing down to the deuce before, I would not be surprised to see him just go for the full offense. And very reasonable play here. That's what he chooses. Francisco with the decision now. Not ahead enough in the race and structural issues. I think the cube is further off now. Geoff has made quite a bit out of this game. 2-1. Awkward. Maybe 13 to 11 is our best place to leave a blot. Fly shots so we get returns in board whenever we get hit, but 6 to 5 we don't love. We had nice distribution, now we've got ugly distribution. Ooh, what are we going to do with this threes? I think this time we've got to advance to the 18. We don't have anything else left. And maybe this time we can bring it out with the 24 too. What else are we going to do? Yeah. Almost a dead even race now. He's going to count it to make sure that he doesn't need to keep deeper contact or anything like that. He really doesn't seem to like to advance there, though, with the deficit in the race and wants to find a way to keep more contact. But again, like, what is play B going to be here? Like, it doesn't look like we have room to play something like 13 to 10 3 times and 24 to 21. I guess he could run out to the 15 and play 13 to 10. Just leave shots everywhere. I think for lack of options, he's going to find it. If he was more ahead in the race, maybe somehow it makes sense to continue to the 15 and not get stuck back on the 18, but I think you still want your link to the back checker. So, yeah, I struggle to find a real alternate candidate here. Okay, he is considering... Oh, no, he's going to rewind it. Looking at the 13 to 10 play, again, it's just hard to see what that earns you here. Like, there's just not room in the position for it. And 24 going to link up. Yep, he sees it now. Okay. 6-4. What is this going to do? This can play to the ace. I think just quiet plays are fine here. Obviously, contact not favoring him against that scary 4-point board. And what does Geoff follow up with? Is 2-6. It could seek contact by playing to the 10, I suppose. It's not so comfortable to hit. But 13 to 5 seems like a fine alternative as well. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit better to just play quiet. But not too bad. Close idea. We can see why. He should play a little bit more flexible next roll. Not so scared of his opponent's board right now. 5-2 stuck shuffling around in board. 3-2 can make the 10 now, but that's kind of just another point to clear, so I'm not sure we want it. Maybe it's better just playing the board there. Yeah, 10 to 5 a little bit stronger. 1-6, okay. Francisco going to be stuck leaving a shot. I guess he might as well make the deuce while he does it. Have a 4-point board of his own. Everything else is going to be a lot more shots, I think. 3-6 misses. He's going to have to volunteer a shot of his own. He can... Wow, what does he do with this? I think he just has to cover from the midpoint. What else is there? Or he has to leave a direct on the 10 anyway and then, like, destroy his board? Yeah. It's going to leave a double shot, though, against a 4-point board. Not going to feel good to make this one either way. But it seems another one of these that just feels kind of clearly the best of it. Lack of options. And now Francisco, yeah, is he going to think about... I don't think this is his style of cube either. Slows down, huge racing lead, he can just break contact. Go 18 to 8 with 2, still has to clear the bar points. Has work to do, but big step in the right direction and big advantage in this game after that play. Unfortunate to miss the giant double shot, though. And 6-4. This can just play down and in, sure. So now Geoff just completely focused on completing his board. He's going to send the cube in this holding game with just an 11-pip advantage and a lot of shot levers in trouble clearing that. So it looks like not quite enough here, and Geoff should be able to find an easy take for the purity of his board and still has racing potential even when Francisco gets by. Probably a bit of a score adjustment there, trying to get the cube in time. And double sixes is going to clear the 8-point and leave a lot of problem rolls from the midpoint now. Not his best roll. Five, 3. Looks like it's going to... Does it want to save something outside or play 2 in? Sure. Oh, it can, yeah, make the bar point and slot the ace. Perfect. Yeah. We'll see if he's going to get... Okay, sixes is going to be frozen. Hang out for another roll. Wait for Geoff to hopefully be the one to crunch and leave the shot. Double sixes is going to get him ready too, but he has a 6-point board. Francisco only with the 4-point. 2-6 is going to force the shot. Yeah, this is no gammons when he hits, but of course 17 shots, ton of the time he's going to get there. Aces, can he afford to crack his board to try to keep more shots? I think he's down in the race enough where he needs to. I think he should stay put on the 18 and break something in board. And not everything gets by for Francisco, but much smoother path home now. The hard part's done. 2 sixes by. And now it looks likely to cruise to 4 away, 5 away trailing now. Catch up 2 points there. Ooh, double sixes is going to contest that, though. Right back in the race for Geoff. Lots of wastage for Francisco. This race should be pretty close as a result. 4-5 is going to take a checker off, and he's a big underdog after this, actually. Wow. I'm not sure I expected that. And so Geoff is going to have to take some time to evaluate the race here, too. Does he approaching cube at all? No, because he'd play for the match, and his opponent has to pass to 7 away, 2 away, which is like 16%, so he has to be even better. Apologizes for his double sixes. What can you do? And what does he have now? He's gotten far enough ahead to claim this one. But this is going to take some... This is very difficult to evaluate and know you're this far ahead. It's not even completely clear that Francisco will pass it at this kind of match score. So I think Geoff is going to take a good chunk of clock time to try to work this one out and figure out just how bad his opponent's winning chances are. Again, the take point here is, well, with the live cube, it's all the way down to about 16%. So in a pure race, however we're adjusting that, we might be less certain of how far behind we are. But when we account for wastage, we're pretty well past the market. I think Geoff is going to figure that out and send the cube. But always a scary thing to do when it could decide the match and it could come back to you for 8. So he's going to take his time to think about it. And we'll see what Francisco thinks of this. He is going to pass it. Okay, wise decision there. Easy to think, I got an opportunity to play for the match instead of being at a big deficit. Maybe I should go for it. But he makes the prudent decision and stays alive for a little bit longer with his like 16% match winning chances instead. And so big advantage for Geoff at 2 away. Going to be hard to find cubes at this score. And Francisco needs to be sending it with any sort of advantage in gammon threat. So 2-1. I think at a leading score we can start to split here, but it's still relatively close. Double sixes is a nice start for Francisco. So usually you'd be waiting to make some sort of board point advantage before we send the cube. But I think most of the time he should have a nice one here unless Geoff anchors up. Geoff instead just slots and comes down. So I think this should be trailing here a pretty sizable cube. We'll see if Francisco can find this. He does. He knows he needs to get aggressive. I think Geoff's still with an easy take here. And we'll see how this proceeds. Five, 4. So we could just clear and go for the race here. Everything else has to give up structure, so I think that's the idea. But instead he's going to point on ahead and go for the gammon. 2-5 hits from the roof, but is going to leave a bunch of return shots. Still has to go for it. Sending a third back is going to reduce a lot of threats anyway. And 4-3 is going to miss. Wow, okay. Can link up with the 18 and still be in good racing shape. I think that's the best we can do with it. Otherwise, we're just introducing blot somewhere. Wow, but we should play loose. We can duplicate the 3s. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Just increases the gammonishness of the position, too. It actually wins a little more to just come to the bar. So this is not a usual play to find, but at the score, it's a little bit better to increase the volatility. That's a very interesting one. All right, he finds another play of that sort. 3-6. So it could cover. Yeah, I can cover an anchor. That's just too strong at this score. Take a really solid position and try to cruise home to some lucky racing win at 2 away. And Geoff just hoping to squeeze it out. If he doesn't, then he'll move on to 2-way, 5-way and still have a big advantage. So this is a great position for him. 6-4 looks like it can either slot the 3 or make the deuce. Maybe it's most flexible for racing to just slot the 3. Just leaves us a little bit stripped in without necessarily playable 6s. 6-1 could be a problem, something like this. So, yeah. But okay, board point makes a lot of sense too. It's going to increase the attacking threat on that lone checker back on the 21. 5-3 can solve that and run, or it can just make a board point and hold the contact. Close enough race that maybe running's good, but look at this. We have another one where we should just try to introduce volatility at this kind of score. And he's finding all these. Francisco playing this trailing position well. 5-6. Not the problem 6, but getting a little bit stiff. And Francisco's board looks very ready. 6-5, I think the thing to give up is the contact again. If I'm wrong again, okay. But this time we have to give up some serious pieces of structure. So I think it's too much different. I guess he's just playing it around to see what the race is, and he's going to see that he's down. That might influence his decision, but again, like, what does play be? You have to give up 8 and put a bunch of checkers, the 8 point, and give like really impure structure. I don't think so. It's not super pleasant to hit with the 3 for Geoff here anyway, so it's relatively safe. Yeah, this is a beautiful shot. I think we clear the 13 is the more problematic contact. So I like this play for playing for race. Good find by him, and he's well on his way to a leading race here and maybe winning the match with that. Double fives is going to contest and make it even again. Yeah, I think breaking some contact. I guess we still want to keep some, given that we're slightly down in the race, but we have to give up too much of the link with like too little contact, I think, to hold on to the 18. So I think he's right to go for this. And we can do a little bit better playing 10 to 5, but same idea. Looking for some way to maintain that bar point contact, but it's just a little too weak and a little too hard to hang on to. Has to start playing checkers behind that 4 point he wants to make anyway. But he does decide to hang on to the contact instead. I understand the idea for sure. 4-3. So what can Geoff do to clear this now? He doesn't want to leave. Yeah, no way to clear the 14. Does he want to just give up the spares on the 6 and keep both landing points? Or give up the 9? Maybe giving up the 9 looks a little nicer here to me. Giving up the 8 puts them on better racing points. And with a close race, maybe that efficiency is actually worth it. He could be onto something there. Looks like he found the best play. 5-2 looks like it can't do a whole lot more than slot the ace. And this is quite the sweat for Francisco's tournament life here. Very close one. Plays 2 in for the race. Okay, prioritizing that. Also reasonable. 5-3 can link up with the 9, leaving 7s, or it can just wait a roll and make the ace, something like this. Could clear the 9 as well. I guess if we're leaving fly shots anyway, what's the point in having the 9 to help with that? I don't know. Yeah, I think just making the point makes a lot of sense though here. Oh, look at this. Yeah. So we can just clear up a point of contact instead and likely only leave a 7 shot anyway later. Once again, in these holding games where we have all these like super sensitive decisions and it's hard to find the best of it when the game is close like this. So it finds a close alternative. 5-2 gets to make the ace this time. Okay. So Francisco's board is a little more ready. See if Geoff can find a way to clear safely. 5-2 can either start burying checkers or it can leave the fly shot. Now the fly shot's getting really expensive. I think he might be able to wait it out at this point, and maybe Francisco will have to leave the bar point first. So I'm inclined to start wasting pips, but it does matter a lot in this close of a race, so I'm not sure he can afford it. But yeah, these plays are running super close, and it's getting just like incredibly borderline decisions all the way home here. Which, I mean, he doesn't know that there's no difference in the equity really, but they're going to make you think the hardest too, because they seem close. So also wasting a lot of brain energy here if they have to play more games. Difficult one. Francisco with the a little bit easier position to play after those double 5s now. He's just sitting back and trying to build the board and get ready for contact. All right, it looks like Geoff is leaning towards paying now. We'll need to fade 1-7 to be advantage, but I mean, yeah, he's not like enough ahead when he gets away with this either is another problem with the play. 5-6. Okay, this is going to start to destroy the board if he doesn't run and volunteer a shot. So I'm not completely clear what he should go for here. It hurts the race so much. Yeah, this seems quite reasonable with the better board and a blot behind. He could enter deeper with better contact. I like this play. Good find by Francisco. Geoff has some knockout rolls. That's not one of them, but it gets the checker to safety. Still planning on the race more than anything. And look at this, almost a dead even 50-50 game. Which is the scariest for the trailing player for sure. Half the time he loses the match, half the time he's just still trying to scrape by. 3-1, not a great roll. He's going to make the board and keep the contact instead of leaving. Okay, maybe he should maximize race here. But he's hoping that Geoff is going to have some trouble clearing. And the thing about it is that he's only going to like wait and hit if it's to his advantage. Otherwise, he has flexibility to wait a couple rolls. So just not really worth it to sit back there in such a close race when he could have had a 50-50 game. All right, that's a fan. Double sixes leaves the shot. A lot of things that are going to close it out for Geoff, though. So what does he go for here? I think he should try to clear his opponents on the bar instead of playing behind. Only 2 shots, but they are devastating ones, so it's always scary to do. But he's in the driver's seat now to be your second finalist to take on Mark Farron in the finals tomorrow. If he can avoid a 3-6 pretty much. Double sixes is going to leave a shot again after this, but, so he can still have bumps in the road on the way home. But it's getting grim for Francisco. 2-1 gets to bring the checker in, okay. Still hasn't made the 3-point, though, so there's a little bit of contact value there. 2-5 stays on the roof. Francisco probably happy to wait up there now and hope to get a shot to win. 6-1 takes the checker off and smooths out. Beautiful shot for Geoff. We'll have some numbers to close out now, too. 3-5 enters. And now Francisco going to be at risk of rolling a 6 and running away to a pretty weak race here. I think Geoff should be happy to just take 2 off, yeah, and hope that he runs. Play for the race. I like this play quite a bit. 6-1 is going to have to go. All right. And now he's going to need some sets to get him back in this match. Five one takes 2 off. 6-5 is a lot of pips. He can do it without sets still. It is a reasonably close race, but Geoff with a big advantage here. 6-4 is a lot to catch up with too. If he can keep rolling like that, he's going to be in really good shape. 6-5 takes 2 checkers off. Okay. Francisco's staying in it. 6-3 only gets 1 off. Okay, a small miss for Geoff. Takes him off. Loses 1 roll. So it's relevant. 4-2 not going to do too much to catch up, though. It's on Francisco to catch this one back up. Double twos gets to catch up a roll again and take another checker off, or a third checker off. Very nice shot for Geoff. And 3-1, not going to cut it. All but over now. A big roll will decide it right here. 3-2 only gets 1 off, though. So can Francisco do it? It might be gin already. I can't tell. Always hard for me to tell on these. Double aces. He's going to resign the match. And there you have it. Geoff Hall is your finalist, knocking out Francisco Domingues in 3rd place and advancing on to the finals against Mark Farron tomorrow. Really well, entertaining match by both of them. Well played, tough decisions around, exciting stuff. I'll be right back to cover that. I'm going to switch you over to the player cam to enjoy their conversations with the crowd here. All right. They played straight through that one. Give me any bathroom breaks. I had to run. But yeah, there you have it. Geoff Hall taking this one in an exciting match. Played pretty well there too. And he'll be back tomorrow to take on Mark Farron. Entertaining stuff. Good run by all these players. We can see, of course, even Francisco losing here is going to have a pretty nice payday. As I said here, with the prizes up top there. Second chance finalist leaves him with a £3,000 payday, which is great. Arda coming in to congratulate Geoff Hall on your second finalist determined. Yeah. Geoff Hall and Mark Farron tomorrow. Exciting matchup. UK versus US. And we'll be back with that continuing action tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. Can't wait to get back to do more of this. And I'm going to play you out with some of those like ads and everything. And we'll be back tomorrow. All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.